Welcome to the 50th celebration for the American Journal of Sports Medicine. We are counting down the top cited articles from each year since 1973. My name is Ryuichiro Akagi from Oyumino Central Hospital, and on behalf of the AJSM's Electronic Media Editorial Board, we are pleased to be celebrating the top article of 2004 entitled Injury Mechanisms for Anterior Cruciate Ligament Injuries in Team Handball, a systematic video analysis authored by Dr. Odd Eagle Olsen and his colleagues from the Oslo Sports Trauma Research Center in Norway. In response to the question, "Why did you perform this study?" the authors answered, "To make prevention training programs to reduce the incidence of ACL injuries, it is important to understand the injury mechanism. Therefore, we wanted to advance our understanding of the injury mechanisms for ACL tears. Studies based on interviews of injured players had shown that most of the injuries occur in a faking, cutting movement, or landing from a jump and without direct body contact. However, observational studies of the mechanisms for ACL injuries were not available in the late 1990s and 2000s. The study described these in female athletes using a systematic approach to analyze videotapes of injury situations from team handball to inform prevention programs. Now we will look at some movies of the most common injury mechanisms: one-leg jump shot landing, and plant and cut. In response to the question, "What is the biggest impact your paper has made on the field of sports medicine?" Dr. Olsen replied, "The paper represented an important advance in our understanding of ACL injury, informing prevention programs to reduce the risk of ACL and other serious knee injuries. The videotapes gave us a better opportunity to more precisely understand what actually took place when the players were injured, and also showed that systematic analysis of videotapes represents an important tool to advance our understanding of not only ACL tears but other injury types as well." Data from the study and other studies using video analysis of ACL injuries indicate that athletes could benefit from not letting their knees sag medially during cutting movements or when suddenly changing speed. This information is of great value for team players, coaches, and medical personnel, physiotherapists, medical doctors, and is important to prevent ACL injuries. To the question, "What would you do differently now?" or "What did you wish to knew back then?" his answer was, "We would have wanted to have had a greater number of ACL injury videotapes, and of course using experts to determine knee position visually at the presumed time of injury has some limitations. To get a more complete and dynamic understanding of the injury mechanism, more precise methods to track knee motion throughout the injury situation were needed. To this end, the Oslo Sports Trauma Research Center later developed a markerless method for three-dimensional reconstruction of video sequences, the model-based frame-by-frame image matching technique for reconstruction of human motion from uncalibrated video sequences. Our group later used this method to obtain an exact time sequence of joint motion, which provided clues as to the exact timing of ACL rupture and has been used as input for inverse dynamics models to estimate the forces involved." And finally, in response to the question asking, "What suggestions would the authors have for new authors from their experience as the most highly cited author?" their answer was, "Our experience is that it's exciting, challenging, and required a lot of work to do this type of study. It takes a long time to collect ACL injuries for a systematic analysis of video recordings of actual ACL injuries, especially doing this prospectively. We were able to collect a total of 20 videotapes of ACL injuries from Norwegian or international competitions from 12 seasons. Also, it is important to have medical doctors and national team coaches to systematically analyze these videos in order to describe the injury mechanisms and playing situations. In addition, interview injured players to compare the injury characteristics between player recall and video analysis gives useful information. We learn a lot from this study. Finally, this leading up to make prevention programs, and this new knowledge can be used in prevention studies.